All right, folks, what is going on? Back with another video. It's been a minute since I've done one of these. So we're going to talk a little bit about free agency. The Falcons offseason has been fairly quiet, but now things are starting to heat up this week, with tampering and the official free agent, signings could start. So first and foremost, they are talking about Tua possibly being signed by the Falcons. Listen, I know the Dolphins are about to release him, and the Falcons do need a quarterback, and I understand where we're going at with this because Kirk Cousins is going to be gone. We only got Michael Penix on the roster, I think, maybe Easton Stick, I can't remember, but we need another quarterback. And bringing Tua in does let me know that there's going to be some form of competition, and that's kind of rare, but I think that's going to be the case. When you look at what's going on with other quarterbacks that are out there, some that Stefanski are actually familiar with, and the rumor around is that we're going with Tua, somebody that he does not know as well as a Flacco or whatever. It really tells you that, okay, there's going to be some form of competition. It is going to be healthy competition. And it could be a case that you should not be surprised. Don't be surprised. If Tua comes, and I know this is 3-4 steps ahead, if Tua comes in and wins the job, you shouldn't be surprised. Because I look at it like this. Everybody is rah-rah about Michael Penix, and I get it. I love the kid. I think that he could be a superstar in this league. But just like Tua, both of them have issues with injuries. And I'm not saying that I'm definitely not rah-rah for Tua, but I understand his talent because long term I want Michael Penix to be our guy. But Tua could come in, very well could be a really big threat to Michael Penix. And if Michael Penix is not ready on week 1 and Tua comes in and goes like 3-1 in our first 4 games, there's going to be a discussion. There's going to be a serious discussion about that. So I understand, like, a lot of people I see even here on YouTube, and I think we have some great content creators when it comes to the Falcons, and it's not a knock on them, but even with the content creators there and the people that are on these radio stations in the Atlanta area, they draw this out so far to say, oh, Michael Penix is going to be ready for week 1, and that may be true, but you always got to have that backup plan, or you got to do your due diligence as a coach for Kevin Stefanski and Ian Cunningham that, hey, look, he's not our guy. We didn't draft him, but we need to do our due diligence and can't put our eggs in one basket on a guy who's coming off an injury. Now, if he was healthy this entire season, it probably wouldn't be a question. You probably would just get a lower tier quarterback in the draft, or maybe even so in free agency, because Michael Penix would be your guy if he was able to perform. But, he hasn't played, a good bit of the season last season, and he's hurt. And the fact that his rehab is not 100% ready to go, which I would hope he'd be ready to go by the time, the season starts, there's a real possibility that he could miss 1 to 4 games starting off. And if he missed 1 game in the regular season starting off, it's probably going to be it's going to be 2. And I think the window is usually around that 4 games. And like I said, if Tua comes in, or it's not even just Tua, if any quarterback comes in and lights it up, or they do enough just to win the first 4 games, or, there's going to be a real discussion about that. Because you got to understand, Kevin Stefanski, Ian Cunningham, and the rest of the crew, it's business for them. It's business. It's not necessarily saying that we're all in, because we got to be honest, guys, it would be irresponsible to be all in on a situation like this. It'd be very irresponsible for a coach to do that. It just wouldn't work out, that really well if it doesn't pan out. Especially if you see one of these guys that was on the market go somewhere else and they're playing pretty solid. It's something to really think about. So I'm not necessarily yay or nay for it, but I always keep this in the back of my mind. Like, look, bro, Tua, Flacco, any of these guys could come in and take this job. It's not handed to Michael Penix, and I hate for it to be that way, but we got to live in reality, guys. We have to honestly live in reality. If any quarterback comes in here that's not Michael Penix, and we can start off with a 4-0 start, 3-1 start, and even borderline 2-2 start, there's going to be a discussion. Now, if he comes in and we lose like the first 3 out of the first 4, there's nothing to talk about then. Because I know there's a lot of people that said that they wanted to keep Kirk Cousins because when he came back in, dude was 5-2 at the end of the season. You know, he wanted to keep Kirk Cousins because of that. And it's not a knock on Michael Penix. It's like, yo, your best ability is availability. And that's the only knock I got on Michael Penix. His arm strength, his football IQ, even some form of his athleticism is not to be questioned. But when you're looking at him as availability standpoint, bro, I mean, I can't do nothing with you if you're hurt. It just can't be done. So, yeah, I understand why Tua could be an option. I know it's just a rumor, but I can see where it could be an option. And we know his injury situation as well. So it's not peaches and cream. So I'm not necessarily like, oh, yeah, I'm good with that. Nah, it's like, look, he's capable. Don't get it twisted. Tua is he's capable of being a QB1. And with the weapons that we got on this team, it's very viable that he could be a quarterback that looks really good. And Penix, we might have to see you in week 8. Penix, we might have to see you if Tua goes down. We're not gonna drop the hot hand right now. I mean, the Falcons are trying to win the division, and if you already 4 games in and you already got 3 out of those 4 wins, or you're 4-0, you don't want to turn back on that. It's gonna be so just something to keep in mind. Last but not least, before I get out of here, I can't say his first name. I want to make sure I get it right. I'm just going to say Zaccheaus. Zaccheaus is being re-signed by the Falcons based on rumors as well. This is a really good move for the Falcons. You drop Darnell Mooney's contract, which is like $18 million, and you're going to sign Zaccheaus. You can make the case you get more production out of Zaccheaus than you would out of Darnell Mooney. Zaccheaus is a fan favorite. We loved him when he was here, and it kind of sucks that he left, but he's back home. You don't have to implement any type of situations with him. He knows what it's like to be a Falcon. He was here. He came through as a free agent, and he worked himself up into where he is now. So he knows what it's like to be a Falcon, and it's good to see him back here. He can, be very complimentary to a Drake London or a wide receiver too that we're going to get, because I think Zaccheaus is perfect for the slot. I think he's more perfect for the slot than Darnell Mooney was, and Darnell Mooney was mostly a wide receiver number 2. Zaccheaus will be here, in my opinion, strictly for the third wide receiver slot. And that also tells me that we may be in a running for a wide receiver during the draft. And because we could have got a number 2 in this free agency if the rumors are, what they are. We would have probably heard a name by now if it was the rumors out there. Maybe, hey, we don't know. But it's kind of leaning towards we're getting a wide receiver number 2 in the draft at some point. One of those 5 picks, we're going to get somebody. And that'll be cool. But Zaccheaus is perfect for the slot. We've seen what he's done with us when he was here. Once we needed somebody in that, that slot area, he was good. I can't remember who was the other guy that was there before Zaccheaus. Taylor Gabriel? I think it was Gabriel. Gabriel was there. He was really nice too. And then we ended up moving over him, and Zaccheaus just jumped right in like it was nothing. So we did good on that. And Ian Cunningham knows him from the Bears. So y'all let me know what you think about the Tua situation. Hey, look, this is not just a Tua thing. This is anybody who comes in. We have to be mindful. Like, if Michael Penix is not ready, which I would think that he would not be ready if Tua is going to come here. There's probably some possibility that he won't be ready. That would be kind of crazy if he's ready and Tua's going to sign anyway. That's kind of wild. But if Tua's coming here, that's a sign that he may not be ready, and do not be surprised that Tua could take this job. He could. He has the talent to do so. I hate to say it like that, but it is a possibility, so just be prepared. At the end of the day, I want Penix to be the guy. I absolutely do. I love what he's about, and I love his talent, but you got one leg right now, man. You got one leg. And as far as Zaccheaus goes, it's not much more to be said about that. Zaccheaus, perfect for the Falcons. He's been a Falcon even though he was with the Bears, the Eagles, the Redskins. He's always been a Falcon. So for him to come back, it's fitting. It's like that's how it's supposed to be. And I know Matt Ryan approves of that too, because that was Matt Ryan's guy to an extent while he was playing. But yeah, I'm gonna get out of here. Y'all take it easy. Peace.